Goodness. Okay. So, big update today. First things first, I've got a new beat out. It's great. I'm working on a second one with a good partner of mine from San Francisco who's an excellent DJ. And all in all, just making it happen. So I am really looking forward to basically turning my life up a lot. I feel like I'm ramping up production to the point where I've never produced as much music as I'm producing as consistently as I am, and I've never produced the quality of music I am at the volume I'm producing it, which is great, because that's exactly where I want to be. So, getting better, things are sounding better, and things are happening quicker, which is perfect. I now am really looking forward to ramping that up and getting serious. I think the other thing that I'd really like to get serious about, or getting better at, is being more entertaining on video. So part of the reason why I'm doing these vlogs, other than to kind of keep track of what's happening in my life and potentially share with anyone who might be interested, is so that I can get better at being on camera. I feel like I'm fairly good at talking with people in person. I feel like I'm fairly well spoken, and I can improvise pretty well. Pretty much just do whatever I need to. But what I'd like to do is be more engaging and entertaining on camera, because I feel like, especially watching myself in some of my earlier tutorials, it's very much like dead eyes. So I've got a couple ideas for this is the way I'm doing that, but I've got a couple of ideas for some other series that I want to start, and I want to start producing quickly, because I think they'll be pretty easy. So the first one I want to do, I want to make like a 10-minute beat challenge, right? So that I have 10 minutes to make a quick beat. And part of the reason why I want to practice that is because I want to get really, really good at starting things quickly. And at finishing things quickly also. I think starting things and expanding them out to the point where they're usable, and being able to judge whether or not they are usable quickly. So that's what I'd like to do there. Now, one thing I'd really like to talk about is Pioneer just announced the Nexus 2 line. I'm really excited about this, but it got me thinking about Pioneer. And number one, how brilliant of a company they actually are, because they're kind of the Apple of the DJ world, in that as soon as they release an update, everyone has to buy into that update because it adds in more features. In fact, the parallel continues, because Apple is usually not the pioneer of new power or new features. They usually figure out a better way to implement it among the iOS Apple infrastructure after it had already been done on Android in a number of different ways, or whatever the case is. Basically, I feel like Pioneer, this new line of CDJs, is getting to the point where the CDJs are finally catching up with the kind of tips, tricks that we had, or the tricks and techniques and usability that we have in software. Still not customizability, but I don't think that's as important, because the more and more I explore unconventional setups, and the more and more that I start to explore the philosophy of DJing and what it means, and what it means to be a good DJ and how to be a good DJ, I feel like it's less important to do something interesting and unique, and it's more important to, well, that frame rate's not dropping, I'll just run with it. I feel like it's more important to instead to be able to read a crowd, interact with a crowd, and allow your personality to come through on the decks. And I feel like the best way to do that is to have comfortable situations for DJs to play in unique situations. Basically what I'm saying is, I feel like a DJ, with their music library, their skill, their knowledge of the music that they play, when you inject them into these really interesting situations, whether it be at a festival or at a nightclub or at a small house party or whatever, that's where you end up getting the magic of a DJ gig, and that's where you really end up seeing that. And I'm really liking that everything, whether it's Traktor or DJ Pro or CDJ or whatever platform, Serato, whatever you're using, is now closer to everything else on the market, and everything is kind of coming to the standard where we have 8 cue points. That's a standard. Everything has 8 cue points now. I'm not sure how loop save, I don't know if that's super crucial, because I've never really, I feel like it's less seamless to have a whole lot of different cue points, and it's much easier to just be able to hammer cue points over and over again, and then set a loop if you need it. So I don't know. But long story short, I feel like with all of the features that the Nexus 2 is adding, that we are starting to get now that the Pioneer architecture is the I'm also super excited about Rekordbox being a software, and I know that was announced recently, but the fact that could have been probably the most brilliant thing that Pioneer did, the fact that you can start with a controller in the Pioneer software, organize your entire library, and then at any point in time walk up to a set of CDJs, either with your computer or a flash drive that you've organized with playlists on the same software that you normally use to DJ. All of a sudden everything becomes easier. So I don't know, the whole thing is just really exciting to me, and especially thinking about how all of that kind of plays out in all of DJ culture. I think that we're starting to approach a really interesting point where everyone has more performance tools, the same performance tools, and so it doesn't really matter what you're using, you can DJ. I feel like what has plateaued is a passion of mine, which is live performance. And I can't tell if I think it's a combination of a few things, because as Pioneer's increasing their quality, and as DJ softwares and everyone is starting to incorporate more quantized features, more sync features, more automation and more powerful features, all of a sudden mixes become more seamless. And since you're playing with mostly mastered material as it is anyway, you don't have the same kind of variation in dynamic range that you do when you do something like live looping. Because when you think about it, I spend, when I mix one of my tracks, I probably spend 60% of the time I'm working on the track mixing. I mean, it's not all at one time. It's, okay, I want to EQ this, and then I want to EQ this, and then all of a sudden I add this new part and make sure that fits in, but if that doesn't quite fit in, then I'll go back and EQ something. Like, mixing is a constant thing, and when you're performing live and doing live looping or doing live improvisation, you don't have the same flexibility. While you might have the same tools, especially if you're using something like Ableton Live, which is the software that I use to produce, you have the same EQ, you have the same compression, you have the same tools that you would in the studio, but you don't have the time to adjust it. You don't have the time to fine-tune it. And I think that's the key. And so when you think about, okay, why isn't live performance more popular? There are some incredible live performance artists, but when you look at the ones who are really being successful, even Beardy Man, when you listen to a live improvised Beardy Man track, in its context, it sounds really, really good. I mean, he's spent probably countless hours developing the polish around his sound and the way that things mix together, and kind of having compression and EQing automated in a way that's just simple and easy to use, and basically reactive to the sound that you're putting into it. But when you talk about referencing his, and this kind of comes back to my reference video, which you should check out. It's one of my blogs on reference. I'm sure you can search it. Is one of the things that I think is so interesting about that is when you reference one of his tracks, even though in the moment it sounds really good, sounds great on a club system, next to like a top dance track right now, or even something on the radio, it does not have the same quality. And there's a lot of like glaring Beardy Man-esque characteristics that are kind of the nature of doing things the way that he's doing, and that are distinct sounds for the engines he's using for his percussion loop or whatever else. So when I see a huge leap forward in the DJ scene, as far as the technology that the top DJs in the world are using, a leap forward in quality and a leap forward in the kind of tools and manipulation that they have over records, it's really exciting to me, because I don't think that live performance is something that will be, live electronic music performance is something that will be embraced by the masses anytime soon. I feel like to the same tune, and to quote a great songwriting instructor who I'll have to reference in my blog with this because I've forgotten his name at this point, is you can't fool an audience. Like, if the audience is smarter than you are. Not to say that you're not a smart person, but they know what they like, and they're very comfortable with what they know they like. And if you come in and you say, no, let me show you what you're gonna like, you're probably gonna be wrong. Now, that's not to say that there are exceptions to that, and I think that's the fun of DJing, is to be able to say, hey, here's these things you like, and I'm gonna present them to you in a new and interesting way. So, that being said, I'm really excited about this new Pioneer kit. Again, I think they're brilliant in their marketing strategy, in kind of doing things the Apple way and constantly coming up with new gear, or at least every year or two, or however often they do it. And now, they're really poising themselves to again and to continue being really, really good. I'm kind of curious to know, though. In my life, I have started to leave DJ club culture. I've really started to focus my time on music production. I think it's more in line with my lifestyle, with the lifestyle I want to lead. And watching Laidback Luke's vlogs has really been an eye-opening to how exhausting and rigorous a full-time touring schedule can be. Laidback Luke is one of the best DJs on the planet, and he is constantly on the go. Like, he works more than I do, and I feel like I'm working too much. I mean, I think the difference is he's doing something he loves, so he's less, like, emotionally, satisfactorily exhausted by the work that he's doing, but he's working almost all the time. So much so that he needs to the only thing he does in his spare time is work out, sleep, and make music. Like, that's what he finds time to do while he's on tour. I don't know. But, I mean, part of that is, like, his life is simple, yet it's simple in the midst of all this chaos, so who knows. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap this up here. Big thing is, really excited about Pioneer Record Box and the new CDJ900NXS2. Introduce a lot of really cool features, like the 8 cue points, which is the main thing. Much higher quality, much easier to integrate into a computer setup, so it's going to be an easier transition for someone on controllers to transition into. The mixer's still the same kind of control. It's just a little bit more refined, a little bit better. The effects are a little bit different. It's just really cool to see how things are progressing into sounding better and being more powerful. And I really hope that either I get a chance to use it someday. I think, like, loosely in my head, I've got this plan where I'm going to produce a bunch of music for a bunch of artists, be the producer on the record, and then go DJ the songs that I've produced. Because DJ Mustard does that. Not to say that I'm at the caliber of DJ Mustard, especially not in productions at this point, but I think I can get there. Lots of work. If I keep producing one song a week, maybe do these 10-minute production things on the side, whatever, it'll be fun. One last point. This is a really scattered vlog. I guess I should probably focus these more. My whole blog is scattered and stuff. I think I have to take beer off the blog because, I can't afford it, and it's just too distracting from the things I want to focus on now. Maybe beer and games. I think I want to do beats and gear, even though it doesn't rhyme with the rest of it. Maybe I'll keep the name, but I'll not. Anyway. Yeah, so the next thing. I really like doing vlogs and posting vlogs the day that I do them. This last week, I did, like, 3 in one night. And it was cool to have, like, stuff to upload, but I was really, like, scattered. I feel like when it's something that I can be better at planning and better and when I can understand the process more, it'll be great. I really need a computer for rendering. Trying to render on the computer that I'm making music on, and all of a sudden I can't do anything as far as making music for an entire day because it's rendering a video. I really want a render machine. Anyway, all that'll come once I start selling music. So hey, thanks for watching. If you are, I guess if you're watching this, you're watching. So thank you, and we'll see you soon. Bye.